Good afternoon and welcome to the Board of Commissioners special called meeting work session for April 28th, 2015. Our first tab today is from the Cobb County Transportation Agency, and it's to present information regarding a memorandum of understanding with the Cobb County Marietta Water Authority. Director, good morning.
Good afternoon, sir. Chairman, Commissioners, and County Manager, we are pleased to present for your information today a memorandum of understanding between the Cobb County Department of Transportation and the Cobb County Marietta Water Authority. As you all are likely already aware, we have a similar business model in place with the Cobb County School District that we developed about 4 years ago, because oftentimes there are other entities in the community outside of Cobb County government proper that we have to interact routinely with in the accomplishment of delivering infrastructure in the community and other activities that are present in our community. We have a great relationship with the Cobb County Marietta Water Authority, a long-standing good relationship and a history of cooperation. But we have found that one of the things that we thought would be helpful is to memorialize how we're going to deal with the coordination of how the Cobb County Marietta Water Authority develops, how they include DOT as they're developing projects in the conceptual phase, preliminary phase, and final plan phase of all their infrastructure improvements that affect our right-of-way, how they're going to coordinate as those are actively in construction, and how we will coordinate on the ensuring that traffic operations are maintained at an optimum level during those necessary times of impact. We've also agreed to provide them with a list of upcoming roadway projects for coordination with those infrastructure improvement projects so that we can ensure, for example, that to the extent that we've identified those things ahead of time, that resurfacing projects don't occur and then they come in right behind us with a water infrastructure improvement. So this is just for your information to let you know that we are utilizing best management practices and best business practices in the conduct of our business at DOT, and this is another example of that. Again, we modeled it after our existing memorandum of understanding with the Cobb County School District.
And the Cobb County Water Department.
Yes, sir.
You did similar with them, right?
We just coordinate routinely because we're all inside the Cobb County government family.
Yeah, when I'm talking, there's a cooperation over there as well.
Absolutely, sir.
Any comments or questions from the board? Commissioner Ott?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Faye. I just want to really emphasize, as Faye said, this is modeled after what the county has with the school system, which has been extremely helpful and useful over the last couple of years as the school system has built some new schools, modified some schools, because it really helps. For example, when the school system designs a school, our traffic engineers go in and basically determine the flow of the buses and the cars on that site, which of course minimizes the impact on the local roads around the school. This agreement with the Water Authority came out of a upcoming project that's going to happen in East Cobb, which is going to take 2.5 years. So it just seemed like a perfect opportunity to get this in place, which now is going to be coordinating all of the projects that the Water Authority and DOT do. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Thank you, ma'am. Tab 2 is for the quarterly presentation of the update for the 2011 special purpose local option sales tax. I believe you're starting that.
I am, sir. The first slide. Again, Chairman, Commissioners, and County Manager, we're pleased to present your SPLOST program management team within the county is pleased to present their 2011 SPLOST quarterly update. You know that our program had $492 million of projected SPLOST collections. The SPLOST receipts through March of 2015 has exceeded project receipts. We've exceeded the projections by 31.5, almost $31.6 million. With that, every quarterly update, we also have one of our city partners come and present their projects. We are extremely pleased today to have Jim Graham from Community Development with the City of Austell and Randy Bowens, Public Works Director with the City of Austell, here to present the City of Austell's project, sir.
Great. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Randy Bowens. I'm the Public Works Director for the City of Austell. First, I want to thank you for inviting us today, and I feel pleased to offer our review of the 2011 SPLOST. We're making great headway. A lot of our projects have been completed as of to date. We still have several projects that are out and pending, under construction as we speak. In 2011, the transportation portion of our 2011 SPLOST was $1,635,000 allocated for transportation projects. To date, we've spent $992,317 with a balance of $642,682. The 2011 SPLOST for transportation, for sidewalks, and this is one of our primary focuses, that we coordinate our sidewalks and provide a clear pedestrian pathway for most of our residents there in the city of Austell. We try to incorporate those sidewalk projects with what the county's doing as far as projects that are conducive to that area. And we look for those sidewalk projects where we have kids that are on bus routes for the Cobb County school systems, where we can give them a clear pedestrian pathway and not walk in the streets. So we've tried to provide sidewalks for those areas, and it's been working out relatively well. In 2011, we had $502,355 allocated. To date, we've spent $302,206. We still have some ongoing projects that are pending currently. And that leaves us with a balance of $200,148. The maintenance portion of our 2011 SPLOST actually incorporated the purchases of several pieces of equipment to allow us to do things such as right-of-way maintenance and various other things throughout the city. We set aside $605,957. To date, we've actually spent $653,779. We went over budget somewhat in that area, but all of the equipment that we purchased were equipment that would primarily be used for transportation needs. Some of those would be pothole patchers, street sweepers. We have zero-turn lawnmowers that we purchased actually to maintain our right-of-ways throughout the city of Austell. The capital improvement projects for 2011 were $60,000 that was set aside for that. Expenditures, $67,791. A balance kind of went over $7,000. Total budget was $2,803,312. Total expenditures, $2,016,095 to date, with a balance of $787,216. If you look at page 2, which is a pie chart, it gives you a breakdown of what and the amounts that were actually allocated for the various projects that we had throughout the city of Austell. Page number 3 will give you an idea of some of the improvements that we made, some of which are Austell Powder Springs Road. What we tried to focus on was the major corridors coming inside of the city of Austell. Austell Powder Springs Road, Humphreys Hill Road, things of that, Love Street. Those are frequently used roads, and we, over the years, have been getting numerous complaints because of the deterioration of those roads. Under the 2011 SPLOST, it allowed us the opportunity of actually putting those out to bid and for contractors to come in and actually do the resurfacing, which was much needed. Austell Powder Springs Road, the amount was $67,470.82. Brown Street project was a project that was done in conjunction with our stormwater management fee. That was a project that was actually a head wall culvert replacement pipes to improve some drainage problems that we had on Brown Street. From SPLOST, we actually pulled $12,000 to supplement the stormwater utility fee that we had that was completing that project. We also had Greystone Place, Greystone Court, which is an area, short, minor streets with multifamily units there. That was $11,291. Northview Drive, $24,800. Walker Street, $10,663. And these are some pictures of the before and after. Oh, I'm sorry, Brown Street and Walker Street. We found a need for a lot of restriping throughout the city. Austell Powder Springs Road, Humphreys Hill, Joe Jerkins Boulevard, Mulberry Street. Over the years, we've used painting, just oil-based paint to actually restripe some of those areas, and we found ourselves going back out 2 years later because of the amount of volume on those roads, and we switched over from just painting to thermoplastic, which actually gives us a little bit longer life with the painting out there in those high-traffic areas. And those numbers are listed on page 5, $16,800 for Austell Powder Springs Road, Humphreys Hill, $13,200, Joe Jerkins, $13,838, Mulberry Street, $2,487. Page 6 basically is the capital improvement projects that we have. Along with the purchase of a lot of our equipment for transportation needs, we found that we needed a facility to store those pieces of equipment. So we allocated enough money to actually build a storage facility for those pieces of equipment that should not be out in the weather and the elements. We built a 60 by 100 building to accommodate those under the 2011 SPLOST. And then we actually closed that in with the front with roll-up doors remotely. And we were able to store all the equipment that we purchased through that in that facility. The next page, on page 7, is a breakdown of the particular projects that we had, the miscellaneous. Brown Street drainage improvements. The amount was $115,421. The curb repair, we tried to use some of the local people there in the city of Austell. We had one gentleman who's 83 years old. We wanted him, he was very adamant about being able to continue to work on a part-time basis. So we allowed him to do some work around the city where we had specific areas that needed repairs. And he's still working. He's 89 years old and still working. And it bugs me every day about small projects that he can do throughout the city. We also implemented some material costs for the anticipated winter weather that we were having. Hopefully, we were lucky enough not to have the reoccurrence of what we had the year prior to that. And we bought sand and salt in anticipation of severe weather. We have been utilizing a lot of infrared patchwork throughout the city. I think I mentioned this at not the last oversight committee meeting, but in situations like Faye referenced, where we have a recently resurfaced street, we try to do the upgrades as needed before we bring in contractors to do the overlay. That's not always the case. Sometimes or another, you might get the heavy equipment out there, and soon after resurfacing the street, you might have a water line that ruptures and needs to be replaced, or utility cut for gas systems, or some other cable company or something of that nature. So what we found to work best is that when we do these things, in order for us to go back out and patch that particular hole from a utility cut, we still would allow penetration of water to get down in that. And we came up with a company that is doing an infrared patchwork, which is a seamless patch job, and it really does provide a smoother transition for vehicle traffic going across, and it eliminates the possibility of water penetrating into that utility cut and causing it to buckle up in the winter months when it freezes. So we have actually been very impressed with that company that we've contracted, and we've spent $73,179. And a lot of those streets that we do infrared on are streets that are structurally still good, but might have numerous utility cuts as a result of a broken water main or water pipe or something of that nature. And what we try to do is project 3 or 4 years out, if that street is really in good condition, other than the utility cuts, is just infrared those and make that a smoother transition and really offset us having to go back out and resurface the entire road when it's not needed. The Jefferson Street drainage improvements was $105,955. We had miscellaneous items in there in the amount of $1,490. Pothole repairs, that's just the amount of materials that we use for various potholes throughout the city, $2,391. Sidewalk repairs from existing sidewalks that were either damaged, cracked, or needed to come up for various reasons, $4,994. We've had an increase of speed humps. People in specific neighborhoods, because of speeders, would like to have speed humps placed in their neighborhood. I don't particularly like them because they do slow the traffic down, and they also slow down the emergency response vehicles, the police and fire responding to a heart attack victim or ambulance going to a specific residence. It also slows down that response time. So we try not to encourage speed humps in areas like that. And when we do, and we have a process that actually requires a petition from everybody that lives in the community to actually sign off on it in agreement with speed humps. Once that's done, then we will put down the temporary speed humps or the removable speed humps. So we can remove those for future resurfacing or work that we need to do in that particular neighborhood. Street signs, we're actively changing over our street signs to the retroreflective signage. Whenever we do a street or a road, such as Austell Powder Springs Road, when we go in with a resurfacing project and not infrared, but thermoplastic restriping, we change all the signage on that particular street to the new retroreflective signage. So we're done, we're completed with that street, and we don't have to come back out for any maintenance. The next page is the project that we had on Brown Street, the drainage improvements there, which was much needed, and that is the one that I mentioned that was a joint project between SPLOSH funding and SPLOSH. And then we have the Jefferson Street project, which was a project that was done. We had a chemical company that was located there on Jefferson Street, where drainage actually went through off of the Jefferson Street roadway through a particular chemical company to go underneath the railroad tracks. And we were persistent in trying to get the owners of the company to replace their drainage pipe. He said it was the city's. We said we don't have an easement. Got to the point to where the EPA was involved, and we kind of sat down and went through negotiations and mitigation and decided to do a drainage project to offset some of the stormwater runoff that went through his property. And that's what Jefferson Street is. We diverted the water coming off of that place around his structure, and it ultimately ended up in the same outlet structure that would go up underneath Norfolk Southern Rail Yard. And it's worked out pretty good. Unfortunately, the chemical company closed down and moved to Ackworth, so, you know, it's something that was good that was in place. Ongoing projects we have under the 2011 SPLOSH is the mast arm and lighting for downtown area, which We have several locations where there are mast arms, but some of the major ones around VMH at Austell Powder Springs Road, Jefferson Street. We're doing, in conjunction with our LCI project, mast arms to extend across the road and take some of the overhead power lines and wiring down. That's in the still in the construction stages. We have not we have not broke construction on that yet, but they're still gathering data and information and acquiring easements. And that is an estimated cost of $750,000. Engineering and the contract amount, $80,750. And so far to date, we've spent $48,140. The Veterans Memorial Sidewalk Improvement is one that, I think I've mentioned that to probably everybody in here, which is a connection between the county sidewalk and the city of Austell sidewalk. Unfortunately, they meet there at the VMH bridge that goes over Veterans Memorial. We've talked with the DOT and tried to get input from them. We actually worked with an engineering company that came up with a feasible plan of actually connecting those two sidewalks, because my idea was that I would like to see people walking from Austell to Mapleton and through Mapleton to downtown Atlanta, as long as there is a clear pedestrian pathway. And that was one of the obstructions that we had. Our sidewalks ended right there at the bridge, and the county's sidewalk was on the other side of the bridge. So you're only talking about 200 feet of sidewalk, and we have since got an approved plan. The DOT has approved it. We have solicited companies to bid for the construction of it, and we put out nine bids. We had 9 companies to come in and look at the project, and only one bidded on it. And that project actually came in much more than we anticipated initially when this project started. But it is currently right now where you see the contract amount at $61,624. That has actually went up by $100,000. We do have the money currently in the SPLOST. We actually budgeted in about $100,000, but we are switching funds from a project that we had on Pheasant Drive there in the city of Austell, which a lot of the residents, it was a sidewalk project, but a lot of the residents on Pheasant did not want sidewalks. So we talked with the Oversight Committee, and they are allowing us to switch that $60,000 to this VMH project, so we should have ample funding actually to proceed with that. And we will be actually issuing them a notice to proceed this coming Monday night at council meeting. With that, I think I'll turn it over to Jim Graham. Or are there any questions or
Any questions yet for Randy? Thank you.
Okay, I'll turn it over to Jim Graham.
Thank you, Randy, and thank you all for having us. I'm not as elaborate as Randy. I'm not going to expound as long as he did. Our project's a lot simpler. We had less money. You can see on page 10 some of our balances on equipment, our capital improvement, and our parks upgrades. We went over in some areas. We're still under in some areas. If you go to page 12, it shows you we went way over on our tennis court. It was in worse shape than what we thought, so we completely redid it. So it cost us, we went way over budget on it. We also did on the resurfacing of the community center, but we actually upgraded that parking lot, so it should last another 30 years instead of with just 1.5 inches. It was 3 inches overlay. Some of our projects we've gone under because we've been creative and used CDBG funds with our SPLOST funds. So some of them look like, well, how did it just cost you that much? We show here on page 13, one of our other major projects is land that was acquired by the flood at Legion Park, where we built a playground and a horseshoe pit, sidewalks, and a parking lot for it. And we actually went over, well under that, because we used CDBG funds on that. Same with the lighting project on page 14. We had projected $40,000, only spent $12,071. Our new restroom, we did CDBG again. It was estimated at $75,000. So far to date out of Splosh, we spent $25,707, and that project is complete. That only leaves us this year to complete one of our projects, which is a capital improvement project, is a water line from the Garrett Road all the way up to the thread mill to get us on our city water. And that will conclude our splosh money for the 2011 splosh. The next thing is even more self-explanatory. Police and fire had the least amount of money, but the fire department bought a new fire truck, so that took most of it. And the police got 3 new vehicles, some communications upgrade to 911, and a training facility. And I just want to thank our citizens for allowing this splosh, because without these funds, our small city couldn't afford any of these projects. Mm-hmm. It's been a blessing to us. We were thankful that another one passed, because there's so much we can do now that we couldn't have done under our regular general fund budget. And I just am so thankful for that. And does anyone have any questions for us?
Well, thank you, Randy and Jim, both. Thank you both coming up here today and spending time with us. We appreciate the update, and know the public who've used this on TV 23 either today or later getting an update will appreciate it as well. And so we appreciate that, and with the partnership that we have with Austell, Winona County, in terms of working together with projects as well. Anybody have a question or comment, Commissioner?
Thank you, Chairman. It's always good to see both of you, and I'm glad to see the sidewalk being moved forward underneath the VMH, or on VMH underneath the Maxim Road. I think we've been talking about that since I've been in office, and we know that's a pretty treacherous exchange.
It is, it's well before we dealt with the state and the county on that.
Yeah.
Everybody saw the liability, nobody
I know.
stepped up to the plate, so we're gonna
You're
assume all the
stepping up to the
liability, I
plate.
guess,
So
on it.
thank you. Really appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate the work that you're doing in our area too, Ms. Cupid, and we look forward to meeting with the mayor and the two of us and your staff.
Yes, I'm excited about that later this month. Thank you.
Like I said, I'm not as elaborate speaker as Randy, so
Oh.
I'm more business and to the point.
Still have love for both of you.
We appreciate it,
Thank
Jim.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Say hello to your council and mayor for us, please.
Certainly will.
Thank you. Who's John? Thank you.
We have ours. There it is. Afternoon, Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager. What you're seeing in that picture is a reception counter at the new Health Department facility that is now being near complete. That's the facility that used to be juvenile court on County Services Parkway. And that's a reception counter. If you go to the next slide, please, you'll see that we have $18.1 million in the 2011 SPLOST. It's divided amongst judicial facilities, senior services, public libraries, public safety, health department, and some other facilities, with the major part of the SPLOST money being with the judicial facilities and the health department. Next slide, please. That slide there shows on the right-hand side, you can see that at this point, we expected to have 76 projects completed. We currently have 110 with 18 underway, where we expected to have 8 underway. So we're quite a bit ahead of schedule. The remaining slides show you some pictures of things that are either completed or underway. That slide there is another one of the new health department. That's the new WIC area where the people will sit and wait. You see it's the hard surface, no no damage to carpet will occur. That messy picture is a new air conditioning unit at Freeman Pool. That's easy stuff for the mechanical contractors. It looks a little difficult to me, though. Next slide shows the same type unit going into the East Cobb Senior Center. Those three centers all got brand-new air conditioning. Those three centers had the latest and greatest when we built them, but that's quite a while ago, and now they're back with very good equipment. This slide shows in the background there, the white on the top is actually the tower, the old control tower that is now down. In the SPLOST, we had money to replace that roof. That roof is now replaced with a metal standing seam roof. Next slide, please. That is the former purchasing department. Parks is in that building now, County Services Parkway. We replaced the windows with energy-saving glass. And we also do a little bit of landscaping in the SPLOST. That is the Vinings Library, some landscaping being updated. This is what's coming up for the next 3 months. In the judicial, we're continuing the design of the new magistrate court work. We're state court roof is going to have some refurbishments, so we'll bring to the next agenda meeting. And the public safety building, HVAC, both of those are currently being bid, so those will be coming up soon. Under senior services, the HVAC that you saw being installed, that's just about done now. We're doing punch list items to wrap that up. Health Department, the Health Department building Annex B, which is what the Health Department calls it, that's the former juvenile court facility, is still underway. Going to be a few more weeks before it's completely done. And then that contractor will begin on the second portion of that, which is the health headquarters. And that's also under contract. Yet coming up with the health department is replacement of doors at Smyrna Health. That building has wooden doors, and that's coming up to the agenda meeting tonight to replace those with aluminum storefront doors. We're also doing some improvements to the lobbies of East Cobb and South Cobb Health. And DOT is going to get new HVAC in the original office building. That's a long, low building. Are there any questions?
Any thoughts or questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Destiny with public safety is up next.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager. I'm here representing Director Sam Heaton with the Department of Public Safety while he's away on leave. I'd like to speak regarding the status of the public safety projects funded through the 2011 SPLOST. 96 of those projects have been completed, which includes 5 rescue ALS trucks, 8 pumper trucks, and 2 ladder trucks, which have already been purchased and deployed into the field. Excuse me. The next 4% of the remaining projects include 4 engines. Those engines have already been delivered. They were delivered April 14th, and they're currently being outfitted at the radio shop with the IT and radio equipment necessary. They'll be going to stations 9, 16, 22, and 26.
Is that going to fit in 16?
I do hope so. I'll defer to Mike Ellington. All right, the next project is Hazmat 22. Pre-construction is complete, and it is planned to be delivered between August and September of 2015. It's going to Station 22, which is at Austell and Seas Road, and it's replacing the previous 1964 version, which the parts are now obsolete.
64.
And again, we have 4 engines to be completed. They should be completed by the end of the month, and they're going to 9, 16, 22, and 26. And then with the completion of Hazmat 22, that will complete the projects for the 2011 SPLOST. Are there any questions on that?
Commissioner Weatherford wants to know why you referenced 1964 as being outdated and no longer
By no
having
means
parts
is it
available.
outdated. Those parts are just no longer currently being manufactured.
Understood.
That's
All
my
right.
same problem.
All right, there's no more questions or comments. I'll turn it over to Eddie
Thank
Cannon
you.
with Parks and Recreation.
Thank you. Mr. Cannon.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Hankerson. that picture right there that you're looking at, we're going to talk a little bit about as we go through this. This is the before and after of Wild Horse Creek. And as we get into the slide presentation, we'll talk a little bit more about that. This is the breakdown of where our money came from out of the SPLOST funds, $82 million. Next slide is the slide that shows where we are in our project. 56% of we have completed projects. 25% are constructions underway. Still 16% under design, and future projects is 3%. You will see that once we're done, we will have affected 50 parks and 172 projects. It's really taken a new facelift to our park system. Pretty amazing program. I need to also state that through that program, I couldn't have done it without Tom Bills, our program manager, and then our program management firm, Moreland Altabelli. They've done a super job to help us out. So, good job. You'll see these. This map shows you dots. We're looking for red dots. We're getting closer and closer to get more red dots on the map that shows us complete, and it kind of just shows projects throughout the county. First project we're going to talk about is Al Bishop. As you remember, this is one of the oldest softball complexes in the country. Many softball complexes around the country have been modeled after Al Bishop. Many people have come through Al Bishop through the years and played softball here. Total renovation of this facility, fields, fences, lights, building, everything got renovated. We started play about 3 weeks ago. It was a great night to see people back out there playing. So, great facility. And a lot of work by a lot of people. We did a lot of this stuff in-house, plus we used contractors. We made our money go a long way by using a whole lot of different people. So, next is Fair Oaks Park. We're working on a lot of park improvements over at Fair Oaks. 2 concession restroom buildings, renovating the soccer and football fields, subsurface infrastructure, storm drains, water, electrical. We're also replacing the tennis center building, and the recreation center roof will be replaced here in the next week. Next is Hyde Farm. We're 95% complete with the buildings at Hyde Farm. Y'all have all been out there and taken the tour before we started. I cannot wait to take you back and let you see the finished product. It's amazing what has happened out there. It is, we're getting closer and closer for the public to be able to come in and see what we've done. The next phase, we will start working on the fields and the terraces on the fields, and then we'll also start working on the Walker House, so that could be a place where a farmer could actually live there. Our goal is to have the farm up and running by the spring of next year. We will actually do our first planting then. So that is our goal. Y'all did approve in the 2015 budget to hire staff for that. We're in the process of doing that. And so we're getting closer and closer to the day we're going to see to be able to go out there. This is some more pictures. This is Chicken House and the barn. Anytime you're ready, I'll be more than happy to take any of you out there, because it's amazing what has happened. Next is Sandy Plains Park. Total renovation, a little over $1 million. We redid restroom and storage buildings, fences, lighting upgrades. We actually upgraded some of the fields. New water supply for a fire line up to that park. This is all complete, and they're back in playing this spring. Really a great update to a facility that gets used a whole lot. A lot of people forget about Sandy Plains Park because it sits up on top of a hill. But many of our young softball players come through this park, and they pretty much 7 days a week use this facility. So great upgrade. Next is Jim Miller Park. If you've been there, and some of y'all were there over the weekend, it looks like a bomb went off, and we're about 3 weeks away from the Shrine Circus. So we are actually doing construction within this park and keeping activities going. So it's been a real challenge, especially with all the rain. But you can see that our electrical upgrades are 98% complete. HVAC in Building B is complete. Dam renovation is complete. And midway restrooms and subsurface infrastructure are in progress right now. We told y'all when we started that majority of the stuff we do first is going to happen underground. And you're not going to see a brand new building, but we got to get the stuff underground fixed before we can fix everything on top of the ground. So by the time we get to the shrine, we will have everything buttoned up. They will be able to have their event. then we will start again, and by the time we get to the fair, we'll have everything buttoned up, and as soon as the fair over, we'll go again. So that's kind of how we're operating. So, but we are keeping this going as we move forward. These two pictures, one is the Midway restroom, and the other is the dam project down at the pond. Really has made a huge difference. There were some problems with the dam that we had to correct, and then a whole lot of cleanup around the lake. Really, really looks good. They dropped the lake down. The lake is back full again. A really great improvement to that park. Okay. All right, White Horse Creek Aquatic Center. This is an improvement of a little over $3 million. You remember we're closing the pool at Powder Springs Park, and we built this pool at Wild Horse to take its place. Still in the city of Powder Springs. The city of Powder Springs actually gave us $1.5 million towards this project. We are going to be open Memorial Weekend. That is our goal. We're going to make it. It is going to be a seasonal family water feature. It will have big slides, lazy river, zero depth entry, a lot like South Cobb Indoor Aquatic Center, but this is totally outdoor. There's new parking. This is an amazing, amazing facility for our park system. We cannot wait to the day we open. We're looking to having a ribbon cutting the week after Memorial Day on May the 28th, and y'all will be getting more information this week about that. So, exciting, exciting project. Here you see the two big slides, and you also see a portion of the lazy river. This is going to change, I really believe, is really going to be a huge change to this neighborhood. If you all remember, it's a walkable neighborhood to our park. And Tapp Middle School sits right beside us. This recreation center is one of our heaviest used already. This is going to be an amazing facility during the summer for the kids and the adults to use in that neighborhood. You see our future projects. Of course, Jim Miller will be ongoing. Noonday Creek Park office building, Parks headquarters building on county services, Perry Parham and Bells Ferry. Construction Civic Center is actually under renovation right now. It is closed, and if you go by there, you can see the demolition has already been done. A lot of work's going on there. That's going to be about an 11-month project, so a lot still to do there. Fair Oaks, Lost Mountain Park, Traymore, Nickajack, and then groundwater wells and some paving projects also that we have to come. You see our impacts. Of course, we've talked about our safety, upgrades to current codes, and the usability and visitor experience to our whole, basically, new park system. Questions?
Any thoughts, questions?
Comments.
Commissioner Burrow.
As always, super job. Thanks for all the upgrades at the various parks in District 3 and all around the county, but especially some of the baseball, Shaw Park and Harrison Park, the tennis center, everything is really looking nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner Cupid.
Yes, thank you, ditto to what Commissioner Burrell shared, and just understand that the families in the Powder Springs area cannot wait.
Yeah.
They cannot wait for that water park to open. I hear people making plans already for the opening, and I certainly hope that it's going to be a great day that day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
One more question. Are there going to be chickens in the chicken house
There
at Hyde
will
Park?
eventually be chickens at the chicken.
And are Jack and Jill coming back? Sorry.
Chickens, maybe.
Who's next, Eddie?
Faye's next. I'm sorry.
We already heard from her.
The picture that you see up here before we get into our presentation is Windy Hill. As you know, we have lots of activity going on in the Windy Hill corridor right now. So transportation, you can see the breakdown of the transportation expenditures that we're making through the 2011 SPLOST. Obviously, infrastructure preservation was the key component of the 2011 SPLOST, and a little later in the presentation, I'm going to be very pleased to bring you up to date on, we're very proud of our accomplishments with resurfacing. So we have 201 transportation projects. You can see the breakdown of the completed projects at 58%, a number of projects where we have design, engineering in progress, construction in progress, and a very small percentage left now of future projects. Projects that are projected for completion this quarter include Brett Circle drainage, Shiloh Road, Shallowford Road, Burnt Hickory Road sidewalks, South Gordon sidewalks, 2 major resurfacing contracts, Post Oak Tritt Road sidewalks 1 and 2, Bob Cox Road sidewalks, and several drainage projects. So the transportation active project status, we just mentioned 48 projects that are in pre-construction and 29 projects in construction. And as of March the 31st, 2015, we've completed 115 projects. Project highlights. The skip span connector is certainly one of our most lot of interest around this project right now. New roadway over I-75 that connects Busby to Fry and Town Park Lane area. Direct access from KSU to the Town Center Economic Activity Center. Improved pedestrian and bike access. But I think one of the most important things to know about this project is with the completion of this, we are estimating right now a 19% reduction in congestion on Chastain Road. That's going to be huge for both commuters, students, and everybody who travels in that area. Six Flags Drive roadway improvements include safety and operational improvements between Riverside Parkway and Six Flags Parkway, include some widening, curb and gutter and sidewalks, and culvert replacement. That notice to proceed for that project was given in February of 2015, and we estimate construction about 270 days. Walker Drive extension. This extends Walker Drive to Church Street, creates a town square near the entrance to the Mableton Elementary School. Notice to proceed for this project was issued in March of 2015, and we estimate about a year for construction on this project. We should note this is also a very important project in terms of the chairman referenced in our earlier presentation when we were talking about coordination between different departments. This is a project that we've coordinated actively with community development as a part of all of the Lifelong Mableton and other redevelopment authority activities in this area. Project highlight again, John Ward Road at Cheatham Hill Road. This is a construction of a single-lane roundabout, addition of sidewalk on John Ward Road from Ellis Farm Drive to Dallas Highway, and on Cheatham Hill Road from the Battle Park to John Ward Road. The construction is expected to be completed in August of this year. North Hattaway Road drainage improvements replaces existing cross drain pipes at Due West Creek with aluminum bottomless culvert. This is an area that's had frequent flooding and road closures. The notice to proceed was issued in February of 2015, and we estimate this to be about a 3-month project. Ebenezer Road sidewalks on the north side between Hampton Oaks Bend and Sandy Plains Road, and on the south side between Oak Crest Trail and Sandy Plains Road. The project consists of removing existing pipes and replacing them with a single cell aluminum bottomless culvert with concrete head walls and wing walls, and in addition we're making improvements to water utilities. Construction is scheduled to be completed in June of 2015. Next project is Floyd Road, improvements from Veterans Memorial Highway to Clay Road, 4 lanes with a divided median with a multi-use trail on the west side, sidewalk on the east side, and construct dual left turn lanes from Floyd Road onto Veterans Memorial Highway. This project began the beginning of this year, and we expect construction of about 540 days. And then I think this is one of the things, while we are proud of all of those individual projects and the many accomplishments that the SPLOST makes possible throughout the county, I think that from DOT's perspective, this is probably the thing that we are among the most proud of. We know that infrastructure preservation, which began with the 2011 SPLOST and will be continued into the 2016 SPLOST, is so important. If you look at this, the 2011 SPLOST resurfacing through March of 2015, nearly $85 million in resurfacing. And if you look at, include the 3 2005 SPLOST contracts, we're at $96.6 million. We've worked on 1,514 roads, 477 miles of resurfacing in the county. Next quarter planned activities, we have 10 projects that should be completed within the next quarter, 9 additional construction starts, and 2 design and engineering starts. With that, if you have any questions?
Thank you. Any questions or comments for the director?
Just,
Commissioner Burrow? Go ahead, Burrow.
thank you. Your name came up a couple of times at the Town Center CID meeting this morning regarding the skip span connector. You deserve a lot of the credit for getting that project underway, and you and your staff, and it is really, in my tenures, been the most exciting and unique project. And it does include a roundabout, so it's going to be awesome when it's finished, and look forward to the big celebration on the bridge.
Commissioner, I've got to tell you just a quick little story about it. GDOT actually has a term now that they call it when people come in to talk to them about how to get projects done and really get them moving quick. They call it skip spanning a project.
Oh, really? Wow. So we're famous now.
We are.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ott?
One thing you didn't talk about, and it's, I know it's part of SPOS, but that's the Windy Hill. I know you showed a picture, but you want to just kind of mention a little bit about, I know you don't have a slide, but that's 5 pretty major projects that are going on right now.
We do. We have, well, the 2 approach projects. There's 2 approach projects on each side that are moving forward right now. And the Windy Hill, as a matter of fact, we were answering questions about the Windy Hill to Virgin Diamond interchange this morning. Of course, that is a project that will be let this October. It'll be let on October the 8th. So we should have that project underway November ish, we hope, and it will be completed by March, just ahead of the first pitch at SunTrust Park.
Any other comments, questions? Thank you, Director. To the county manager and the staff, you guys have done an incredible job delivering the projects that we as elected officials promised the citizens that we could deliver, but the 5 of us have probably been in the way of delivering most of those projects rather than helping get them done. And to you and your staff, getting them accomplished, as was demonstrated on time and on budget so many times, to build the quality of life for our community is very much appreciated by the board, and what you and your leadership and your team has done to deliver that. It's that confidence in you and your staff to deliver these projects, and everyone else that works to make it happen, is why the SPOS that we just had on the ballot last November was so successful to get passed. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Board, and I tell you, with y'all's leadership and the motivation and encouragement, and also letting us know your priorities, it makes our job a lot easier. Thank you.
Perfect. Anything else, sir?
No, sir.
We are adjourned till 7. Thank you.